Well, hello everyone, and welcome to School of Port live session. My name is Emiliano Renzo, and I'm a market manager for Symington Family Estates. I will be here tonight with another person that will gonna help me to go through the session called Isabel Ribeiro Monteiro, and will join us in a minute. She's also a market manager at Symington. School of Port is a new platform that aims to educate wine professionals and wine lovers about port in a relaxed and hopefully engaging way. Okay, so tonight the session will be about, the topic will be how to serve port correctly. And just to let you know, this is an initiative that we are doing with these live sessions. And this is going to happen every Wednesday at 7:30 Portuguese time, so GMT +1 time. And so we hope you're going to enjoy all those sessions. And we will be covering different topics tonight. Hopefully they're going to be interesting and fun to hear. We also would like to hear from you. If you can, if you'd like to ask some questions, please feel free to do it. But the topics are going to be around the, what's the ideal service temperature for port, how we store port, some food pairings ideas, and so basically the right glass. And so that's more or less what we're going to talk about. The session will last about 25 minutes. And so if you have lots of questions, it might last a little bit longer. But feel free to comment, make suggestions, and please ask anything during the session. We will try to reply to some of them towards the end of the event. I would like maybe now to see if I can manage to bring in my colleague Isabel. And so let me see if I can manage to do so. Okay. Just 1 minute. Let's see if we manage. There we go. Hi, Isabel.
Hi, Emiliano.
Yeah, so how are you? Are you safe at home?
I am safe at home, and I love the shirt. Good choice.
Yeah. You're drinking a lot of port?
I am. I wasn't drinking, I was tasting, but ready for tonight's session.
I like that. I like that. Okay. Well, let's see if you're drinking correctly port. We'll see. We'll find out tonight.
We'll find out. And let us all. Hi, Sergio. Let us all have your comments and questions, and we'll be happy to pass on as much information as we can and reply to all your questions towards the end of this quick session. So, Emiliano, what do you say that we start talking about service temperature? Are you drinking something right now?
Well, I was waiting to show the glass before I start drinking out of it, but yes. Well, service temperature, it's a very important topic for wine in general, and especially for port. I would say that we have lots of answers here, because it depends really on what kind of port we are drinking, right? What are you drinking at the moment?
Well, I have this amazing color wine. Maybe you can guess what it is just by the color of it. So I have a 20-year-old Tony. Because it's the end of the afternoon, the end of a long day, and a hard-working day from home, but still hard-working and long. And towards the end of the day, I actually feel that it's one of the best moments to enjoy a 20-year-old Tony. And I drink it slightly chilled. I think it's the best temperature to drink. So what do? I don't have fancy wine fridge that I can just set it up to 11 degrees. So I have it on the fridge all the time. And what I do is that I pour it and I wait 15 minutes and then I drink it, and it seems to be, it warms up very quickly and it just gets to perfect temperature. The problem with having Tawny Port too hot is that you're going to get the alcohol in the port is going to be too overpowering. So if you bring the temperature down just a little bit, you don't want it cold straight out of the fridge either, because it's going to shy away the beautiful nose that it has. But if you slightly chill it to 11 to 13 degrees, you're going to find that the nose is still very expressive, but the alcohol is going to be a little bit more soft. And then it will allow you to enjoy, especially in the spring, summery day, you're going to enjoy your Tawny Port much, you know, it's going to be more of an experience, and it's going to be more pleasant. Bring it down to the correct temperature. Temperature for serving port is a very, very important topic. I don't know what you chose to drink, Emiliano, but let me know what you have in your glass.
Well, I had to pour it now, so you know I'm drinking actually a Ruby style, a late bottle vintage. So you know the Tawny has to be served a little bit more chilled than a late bottle vintage or a Ruby style in general. And so ideal temperature is room temperature, but you know, room temperature doesn't mean leave the wine outside, because if you live in Africa and there are 50 degrees outside, room temperature, it's way too warm. It's
especially
basically having a soup rather than.
One from the list is listening. If you live in Dubai or anywhere around there, room temperature is not exactly what we need anymore.
So it's 18 degrees, possibly. Obviously, we can go slightly lower from 16 up to 20. 20 can be still acceptable. But, you know, so it means that if you are drinking it in the winter, maybe leaving it in the house must still be okay. Temperature, depends how hot is your house in the winter. But in the summer, probably, unless you live in a very cold place. In the summer, also, the Ruby style benefits to be maybe in the fridge and following your tip, just to take it out a little bit earlier or serve it in a glass like 15 minutes, half an hour before, will help to the wine to go to the right temperature. And this works also for the vintage ports. So Ruby style, vintage port style, they all should be served room temperature. And again, it's about 18 Celsius. Just sure. Tawnies, as you said, it's more like chilled, slightly chilled, ideally, I don't know, between 12 to 14, 15 degrees. It's really what you're looking at. It's, you know, and then we have obviously the white ports, which they also have to be served chilled, more chilled than the Tawny ports, a little bit like white wines. So cheers.
So now that you have, so you can see just from the color of our glasses that Emiliano and I have very different types of port that we're drinking very different styles of port. He has a Ruby style. You can see Ruby is the name of the color in his wine. And I have a Tawny port. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about the glass that we're drinking of, because I actually brought 2 glasses.
Well done, well done. I actually brought 3 glasses.
Yeah, one the amount of wine that I wanted to drink during this live session. So I just decided having both of them would be perfect. So if you can see, I have what is called a normal port glass, and I have a white wine glass. And the fact is that drinking port from these 2 different formats of glasses has a really big impact on how you perceive the port, how you taste it, how you experience it. Even though this is the typical style, that the most commonly used glass in the market, and it's good for tasting. I mean, it's not a bad shaped format to use. I have to say that the experience of using a white wine glass is completely different. So these Tawny ports actually are quite concentrated, and they have very fragrant noses. And I think you get to enjoy that more. You get to experience that in a better way when you use a white wine glass.
Yes, I mean, I agree completely with you, completely. we want to a little bit make things a bit easier as well, because sometimes people think that if you are drinking port, you need to have this kind of glass, and if you don't have this glass, you cannot drink port. Absolutely wrong. Just any wine glass, it's okay. Obviously, the white wine glass is better, but if you don't have a white wine glass, use just a normal glass, wine glass, whatever you have at home. That's absolutely fine. Just enjoy the wine, but give room to the wine to move a little bit, to smell it, to let it open, and to enjoy it. I've seen lots of people drinking port in these glasses. Okay, so it's like, you know, how can you drink port here? You know, you can't swirl it, you can't really smell it. It's a shot. That's good for vodka, but not for port.
Or something. I think that's perfect for a shot, right? Isn't
Yes,
that
exactly?
Yeah. It won't give you enough space to actually experience the wine and smell it properly and enjoy the flavor.
Yes.
And, you know, to its full potential, at least. So I think we both that the white wine glasses are just perfect for drinking any style of port.
Absolutely. Champagne glasses maybe are not ideal, I would say. Okay, but you know, still better than the shot glass. If you really don't have anything else at home, you have champagne glass or shots. Well, it's better the champagne glass. But I'm sure we all have a wine glass at home. So please use any wine glass. Don't feel like you have to use those kind of format glasses. That's it. Just feel free to use anything, really. Okay.
We have the right glasses with the right port at the right temperature. Would you like to, should we go on a little bit more, Emiliano, about do we need to decant port? Don't we need to decant port? I'll start with mine, with Tony port, just because it's a shorter message.
Yeah. Yes, just to carry on, and decanting, it's something that's for the let's say standard port and the port that you normally will drink. It's not necessary. Like Isabel was saying, Tony ports, they don't need it. Ruby style don't need it, like a late bottle vintage. You know, you don't need it. You only need it for vintage ports, really. And I show you a little trick that I learned that works 99% of the time. If you don't know what you're drinking, so what are you gonna do? Look at the cork. So if I'm getting this bottle, I open it, and then you see you got this bar top. Okay, so when you have the bar top, that means that the wine is ready for drinking. You don't need decanting. You only have to make sure that you're serving it at the right temperature, pour it, and just enjoy. Okay, not complicated at all. Okay, if you are opening a bottle of vintage port, you're more likely to find a cork like this, so like a red wine, and so like this. So if you look at these corks, you know, if you think about it, well, first of all, you need to have a corkscrew to open it, and then you have to decant it. Now, decanting also, it's something that we want to make it a little bit easier. You know, lots of people think that decanting is something complicated. It's difficult. It's not really complicated. All you need is corkscrew. Okay, if you have a very old vintage port, you might want to use something like that. That helps. Okay, but you know, you don't have to. It's just to help. And then you need a decanter, and on top of the decanter you need a funnel. You put the funnel. You might want to use a filter. Okay, Isabel is showing the filter. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so the filter, in this case, it's very inexpensive, super cheap. You can buy it for probably 50 cents or something. It's a gauze. It's a medical gauze, and it works absolutely fine. It's the cheapest thing you can get and the best thing you can work. So you put it here on top of the funnel, and then basically you start pouring your port. Okay, so you pour it, and once you pour it slowly and steady, okay, don't stop. Once you pour, don't stop. Ideally, you would have left the bottle standing for a few hours. That would be ideal. So all the sediments, they settle down the bottom of the bottle, and then you will have a perfect decanting session. So you just go, 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 never stops. When you start seeing sediments getting in the gauze, you might want to stop, okay? And that's it. Now, if you don't have a decanter, well, no problem. Just use a jug, water jug. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so, you know, you don't need anything fancy, expensive, just simple stuff. Just get a jug. That's absolutely fine. You don't have anything at home, no problem. Keep the bottle standing and pour it slowly. You don't even need to decant the vintage. You will have only in the last few glasses some sediments, but the first half of the bottle would be no problem. Second half, slowly, you might get some sediments in. But you know, let's try to make let's try to make things easy. Okay, so only when you get vintage port written on the label, not late bottle vintage or some late bottle vintage, but vintage port, it's when you have to decant it. When we can drink port? I mean, that's a current kind of questions that people ask, you know, and I want to demystify also when to drink port. Don't super special occasions to drink port. Just enjoy port during the weekends especially. I think it's great. Okay, so it's a great experience that you can have, and you know, really, you don't need to wait for special occasions. You can buy really good priced ports, such as late bottle vintage, 10, 20 years old. Yeah, fantastic products that you can drink anytime. When are you going to drink it? Well, traditionally, you would drink it after a meal, but you know, white ports, you can drink them before a meal, mixed with tonic water, and you can have the lovely Porto tonic. And so, you know, straight with no tonic, just as an aperitif, that's great as well. Really, you don't need to wait for only after dinner. I mean, you know, we know that like in France, you drink like young tawny port as an aperitif as well, cold. So, you know, you don't have to wait for after the meal. Obviously, after the meal, it's when you can enjoy them at the best. And so basically, what you can do is having it after a meal. In my opinion, one of the best way to enjoy port, it's with a nice cheese, you know, like a blue cheese and a vintage port, or even a ruby style, reserve ruby, late bottle vintage. It's just something that I really love. And tawny port, I mean, you know, tawny ports are so complex, so beautiful, especially the ones that they are a little bit older, like a 20 or 30 or 40 years old. I mean, you can enjoy them just after a meal, just on their own. Sometimes they are so amazing that they are a kind of a dessert itself. You know, it's like a liquid dessert. So it's absolutely fantastic, I think. And if you want to find combination cheese, again, it can be a nice option. I think 10 or 20 are great. We like with a little bit matured cheeses such as cheddar, parmesan, manchego. You know, it's a great combination. On the sweet side, you can go with ruby style and vintage port style. Obviously, a classic combination is with dark chocolate. And it's a fantastic combination. Really, if you haven't tried it yet, please try it. It's great. And obviously, berries. It's also a great combination. Chocolate and berries together, it's perfect. And tawny port, you can enjoy it with natas, for example. You know, this typical Portuguese pastry. They're a fantastic combination. But anything that involves some dry fruit, you know, like pudding, and panettone, for example, it's a great combination. You know, anything that involves cream and dry fruit, that's absolutely great combination. Also, those are the most common. Ice cream, yes, of course. Ice cream, it's another great combination. It's fantastic. We are talking about the more obvious combinations, but you know, if you are a little bit creative and you would like to experiment a little bit more and try something a little bit different, I think you can easily find combinations with savory food and going in the middle of your meal rather than waiting the end or drinking it before. One of the best combination, in my opinion, it's like a 20 years old Tony Port with foie gras, for example. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. And the wine is so rich that you need to have some rich food there, though. That's the only thing. You know, you cannot have like a light food with port, because port will be too overpowering. But you know, you can really create and you can really you know, enjoy it in different moments of your meal. Absolutely, meat can be another very good option. You know, it's all about creating the right dish with the right port. At the end of the day, it's important what you like, and the only problem there is that not everybody like the same thing. Okay, so there's people that love to have this kind of contrast between salty and sweet. Others, they don't love that much, but it's all open, really. It's a word. Okay. I've seen some questions asking about how, you know, how you store it and how long you should keep it open. So
I think Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, sorry for that. Technical problems. I think the Wi-Fi is being used for far too many people around here, and it just gets... But I'm happy to be back, and I have been listening to all you've been saying about decanting. Thank you for that, for showing us all how to do it and how simple it can be. And you were just talking about food pairing.
Yes, and how big it is. So maybe you can talk about a little bit how we should store port and how long we can keep the bottle open once we open them.
Yes, so it all depends. As always, the answer is it depends. There's never a straight answer to anything. So it really depends on the type of port that you're drinking. If about Tony Port, the one that I'm drinking, as I said, you can leave it open 6 to 8 weeks, especially if you're storing it in the fridge. It's going to keep the quality going. It's been in contact in the air through the wood for many years. It's actually quite a stable port, quite a stable wine to keep. When you're talking about Ruby style, it's a more fruit-driven wine. So you should store it around also 4 to 6 weeks, and store it properly so that it doesn't lose that freshness in the nose and that intensity in the fruit that you get once when the aromas come through. So in terms of storing, as Emiliano was showing you a cork of the port top and the proper wine cork. When a port has wine cork, you should always store it laying down, because we want to keep that cork moist. We want to make sure the cork with the moist swallens a little bit, and it keeps a complete separation between the wine and the world outside. And that's what we want for vintage port. Exactly, Emiliano. Thank you. And then when you have a port top, you actually want to store the bottle standing, because the wine is not maturing and you don't want to put too much stress on the sealing of the wine. So you just keep it standing, and also you shouldn't store it for too long. You should buy it and drink it and enjoy it. And Emiliano was just mentioning some of the best ways to enjoy port. One of my favorite ones is actually the Tony Port with the foie gras, or one of those natas that you were saying. That's just anything with like custard style, creme brulee, is just amazing way to drink port. Not only because I like the custard style desserts, but also port is amazing with anything. But it's also good on its own. If you're having it as an aperitif or after the meal, it's also something that you can actually enjoy and relax and have this me time and a relaxing moment.
Yeah, I mean, I can see venison. Yes, I mean, this kind of rich, they also go.
Keep a bottle of vintage open after we open it. And I would say the answer is 2 to 3 days, also depending on how you store it. Can you still hear me?
Yes, your image, I think it's freezing, but I can still hear you though.
Yes, technology is against me. Sorry. As I was saying, when you open a bottle of vintage, keep it for 2 to 3 days, similar to a red wine. Because it has been aging without having any contact with air. Once you do open it, it's going to start an oxidation process. So what you need to do is make sure you open it in a special moment. Open it and just enjoy it all the way through. It's once you do open a good bottle of vintage port, you'll find it that it's not such a hard thing to do.
After all, drinking wine and drinking port even more, it's all about enjoying the moment. And opening a bottle of port after dinner with your friends, I think there's not better way to finish the night. I mean, it's so much fun, and you can put on the table desserts, you can put on the table cheeses, and just enjoy. And I think it's absolutely great. Well, I was just reading some of the questions. My favorite pairing. I mean, it's very difficult to have one answer there. Definitely the blue cheese with vintage. It's like a combination made in heaven. So it's absolutely a fantastic combination. But there are so many other combinations that I really like. On the vanilla ice cream and the Tony Port is also a fantastic combination. I really like it. I don't know, cheese. I mean, the way that I enjoy it the most, it's with cheese personally. I mean, generally talking. So, just, open a bottle of port. Don't be afraid. Don't wait for special moments. Pour it, enjoy it. Most of ports, you can keep it open for several weeks, apart from the vintage port, which is the only one that you have to be a little bit more careful. Enjoy them, open them and enjoy them. So it's the best way. Our life is already complicated. We don't need to complicate also wine and port. Just enjoy it. I think the most important thing for me is temperature. Please feel free to use to use School of Port for any question or any doubt that you have, you might want to ask us. Please feel free to contact us through the website, through the Instagram, and let us know if you have any doubts or if you want to know more about something, and we will be very happy to help you. That's why we created School of Port, to support you and to take away all the doubts you might have. I think we have passed our time here, and we already been talking more than half an hour. I can't believe it. The time flies, especially when you're talking about ports.
I am back. Can you hear me?
I can hear your listeners every Wednesday at 7:30 GMT +1 time, so Portuguese time. Please come and see us. Hopefully we're going to have less technical problem in the future. And but we will really like to see you back. We're going to have different topics, and so please feel free to connect with us every Wednesday at 7:30 Portuguese time. And I would like to thank you very much for being here to listen, and I hope it was useful for you to hear what we talked about. And please feel free to, as I said, to contact us again. And so it was nice to see you, and please keep safe and drink port. Okay, I'm counting on you. Okay, see you in the next session. Bye. Thank you very much.